Hey guys, welcome to Windy City Rant, the fight edition. There is fight night tonight, December 4th. We're going to go through the card real quick, kind of just high level, and kind of just something to kind of think about for watching these fights, whether you gamble or not, you're an MMA fan. We're going to quickly go through it and let us know what you think. Later today, we'll be posting some we'll probably post some bets or picks. Maybe later today I will on my Twitter. You can follow me there. You can also follow Michael on his. But I think let's just dive right into it. There's a lot going on. So, I'm going to just cover some of the fights. So the first fight, I think kicking us off is Luis Smolka versus Vince Morales. Both orthodox fighters, both around the same age, 30, 31 for Morales. Smolka will have like a little bit of a height advantage in it, but he actually has 2-inch reach disadvantage, which is a little interesting. But yeah, so here, gotta love technology, right? Everything just so really in this fight, what's interesting is Smolka's coming in at 17-7 versus Morales at 10-5. Smolka has a 88% finish rate. Smolka's at 70. So there's a pretty good chance that this fight doesn't go the distance, which that's
Nice.
what I kind of figure like this is gonna kick off. So if
you expecting knockouts or what?
Say that again.
Are you expecting it to be by knockout or submission, or what are we looking at here?
You don't know. Morales has 5 knockouts, 2 submissions of his 10 victory. Smolka is a little bit different. He has 15 finishes of his 17 victories, 8 by knockout, 7 by submission. I'm leaning more Smolka in this fight and by a finish, whether that is a knockout or submission. I think it could go either way. If you want to be safe and you just say, hey, I don't think this fight's going the distance, that's kind of how I see this playing out. They're both coming off of a win. Morales did win a decision in his last fight, and Morales won a TKO in the second round. So first fight, I'm going with Smolka. We'll see how it all shakes out, but that's kind of what I would look in the first fight of the night.
Awesome. So before we continue, let's let everybody know what time we can start expecting these fights to start, because these are the early fights. These are the ones that they're going to start early on in the day.
This is the prelims, so you're going to see it. 4 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern time is when the prelims are going to start, depending on when you're listening to this. And if you're internationally, do your own time zone. And then the main card is going to start at 9 o'clock, the usual 9 o'clock Central time, or 10 o'clock Eastern.
Word.
So next fight, I believe is they rearranged it a little bit on me here.
Oh, so next fight is Claudio Puelles versus Chris Grutzmaker.
Here, let's go.
Yeah, that'll be match 13.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump around a little bit here, but that's fine. Chris Grutzmaker, we'll call him that, and Claudio Puelles. So those two are fighting. This is an interesting one if you want to bet on. Chris is 10 years older than Claudio. Chris is coming in 15-4 record. He's coming off a victory. He's 2-5 in his last fights, where Claudio is coming on a 3-fight win streak. He's 10 years younger. He's 25 years old versus a 35-year-old veteran. This is going to be interesting. Claudio has 10 wins, 7 by finish. Chris has 15 wins, 10 by submission. So, they both have finished people. This one can go a lot of different ways. I do like Claudio in this fight, just the youth. We'll see if that really shakes out, but we generally do see the younger fighters having the advantage. Another thing I like about this is Claudio has a 4-inch reach advantage on top of this. He's 2 inches taller. he doesn't tend to be as active as Chris with fighting. Chris will generally throw a lot more punches, be a lot more active. So we'll see if Claudio has the gas tank to keep up with that. But he has the youth advantage. He has a 4-inch reach advantage. He's also a southpaw versus orthodox. If you a large sample size, there's a slight favorite to southpaw over orthodox. So all that taking into it, I like Claudio. If you want to take him to win, you could do that. I don't know if he's going to get a finish in this fight. He has 3 decisions. Chris, his last fights, though, he's getting up there in age. He's 35 years old. His last 3 losses have been by finish. So TKO, submission. And Claudio's last loss was back in 2016, actually. And that was by a TKO. And you're probably going to hear my big whiny baby in the background. He just refuses to be quiet today, my dog. So you're probably going to hear that. Just give me one moment. So let's move on to the next fight. So who do we have next, Michael?
So next we got Alonzo Menefield versus William Knight.
So that one's I like this fight. This one's going to be interesting. Let me pull that up. Things got a little out of order, but so Alonzo Menefield versus William Knight, 34 years old, 33, both orthodox. Alonzo's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage. They're both a little bit more active, so they're very similar. William Knight has a significant striking accuracy advantage, so he's striking about 72% versus 54. So there's a little bit of advantage there for him. Defense is not as good for William Knight, but his last time out, he looked very impressive against Fabio Charant. So he's coming off a win. Alonzo is coming off. He beat Fabio Charant as well. He's on a 2-fight win streak. When kind of looking at these, I think both of these guys are going to look to strike. William might look for a takedown, but Alonzo has a very good takedown defense. So I kind of see this fight just standing up. And with both of them being pretty big, they're both at Alonzo's 11-2, 8 knockouts, 2 submissions, over a 90% finish rate. William Knight, 10-2, 9 knockouts, 1 decision. He's been knocked out once. He has a decision loss. Both guys have been knocked out on one time. So this is a fight where I could see it like ending early, like first or second round. If it gets to the 3rd round, I think this is a decision, but I give it a slight edge to Knight. I just thought he was very impressive in his last fight. So I'm going to go slight advantage to Knight, but I think this one's going to be a little bit more of an entertaining fight between the two. They're 2 big boys at 205, and I think they're going to be swinging.
So you think this is just a free swinging fight here then, huh?
Maybe. I mean, I do think when you start to see this, like if Knight can take him down as well, then you got to give him an edge. I don't see Alonzo Menefield trying to take him down. I just don't see that happening. So if he gets taken down, it's going to be advantage Knight. Whether he can get him down is a different story. Anybody, once you start throwing bombs, anybody can get caught. But
it's pretty good. That's your first underdog win so far of the fights.
So what's he at right now?
He's at a +135.
Okay. So I didn't handicap the next fight.
So the next fight we have on here is the first women's fight. Cheyenne Vlismas versus Mallory Martin. So
Mallory Martin. Did Cheyenne buys? Is that correct? Oh, so I think she goes by Cheyenne buys.
Oh, really? Yeah, I don't know. I'm pulling my stuff up just straight from ESPN.
So she goes by. Yeah, but it's Vilimus. That's what they have on UFC.com. She's a late addition to this card, but she just recently fought. So that's one. If you want to take a flyer on somebody, Mallory Martin's a very good fighter. 7-4. Cheyenne buys is 6-2. They're both. She's coming off a win just recently, so if you want to take a flyer on her, go for it. She's been doing pretty good, and she's been looking pretty impressive. She's 4-1 in her last fights, and Mallory is 3-2 in her last 5 fights.
So that's interesting. So you're saying that that Cheyenne is coming off of a really recent fight, and they still have her as the favorite. They still have her as the -190 favorite. Oh, you're muted, dude.
Oh, sorry. It is a short notice fight for Cheyenne, so you got to take that into account. I would definitely take not going the distance. I
Interesting.
don't know. I don't see this. I don't see it going or a finish. It could be. Mallory Martin has 4 of her 7 wins is by finish. As a short notice fight, Cheyenne has 67% of her victories by decision. Chalk it up to a decision.
And then next fight, we got Jake Matthews versus Jeremiah Wells.
All right, let me get that up. All right. So this is another one that I'm interested to see how this all shakes out, just because there's a couple interesting things here. So when we look at this fight, you have somebody who arguably, Jeremiah Wells, 9-2. He's 35 years old. So he is he's getting up there in age. He has 4 knockouts, 3 submissions, 2 decisions. His 2 losses are by decision, so he's never been submitted or knocked out. Jake Matthews, on the other hand, he's 27, so he's a little bit younger. There's a pretty good age gap there. He's 17-5, 4 knockout victories, 7 submissions. So, he has a little bit of variety of wins. In the last 5 fights for Jake Matthews, he's 3-2. He's coming off a loss, an arm bar or an arm triangle choke by Sean Brady, very good fighter, where Jeremiah, on the other hand, he has won his last 3 fights, and he's won 4 of his last fights. So when we start looking at that, and then looking you have orthodox, Jake Matthews is orthodox stance versus switch. You tend to say a slight advantage to a switch fighter, if all things being equal. Jeremiah has a reach, and he also strikes a little bit more frequently. Jake Matthews is going to have a little bit slight accuracy, 44% to 40. But I think the difference being here is Jake Matthews he will try to take people down. I don't believe Jeremiah has been taken down yet in the UFC. So that's something to watch for. But the defense, I'm not sure if you get it from UFC stats, the defense is a pretty significant variance here, where Jake Matthews has 61% and Jeremiah has 11%. I don't know if that's a mistake coming through or not, but if assuming that is correct, I'm going to just say a slight favorite to Jake. I'm not sure how this is going to shake out and how the fight's going to end, but just on that alone, I think between age and the defense, I'm probably going to go with Jake Matthews on that one.
Yeah, so I have a question on this fight too, because again, we've said in many episodes. I'm not very familiar with UFC, but I'll watch. So little I've done on looking this up, and on this fight, I saw that Wells doesn't take dudes down at all. So does he not just attempt to take them down? Is he just a striker?
He could be. He could be working on that stuff, but he does have 3 submission victories. If you kind of look into that a little bit more, his fight on September 21st, 2019, his victory over Marco Smallman was a rear naked choke. That tends to make me think that, he knocks somebody down and he is, he finally gets the back and chokes him out. This is going to be, I believe, his second fight in the UFC.
Okay.
So there isn't a whole lot of stats. So he could be trying to take somebody down. They just in his other fight in the UFC, he just hasn't been. He didn't attempt to take down. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. That's why I'm a little hesitant on putting a particular finish or anything like that. And I don't know, with the experience of Jake Matthews and and the age difference, when it starts getting larger than like 6-year age difference, I tend to lean more towards the younger fighter.
Understandably so. All right, so our next fight, we got Brian Barberena and Darian Weeks.
Yeah, this is a newly added fight, so I didn't handicap this one. We could probably skip this one. I just don't have much information to kind of go through that. I mean, Brian Barberena, 15-8. Darian Weeks is making his debut.
Yep.
Generally, I don't know too much on him, so I'm not going to really comment on this fight.
Cool. Sounds good. Then we'll move forward, and we got Manel Cap or Cape. I'm not sure how to pronounce that.
Let's call him Cape.
Manel Cape and Zalgas Zamagulov.
Yeah, man, this dude, he's got the weirdest face. Zalgas. He's from Kazakhstan. This one, you got a southpaw versus switch fighter. Oh man, my dog is whiny today. Manuel versus Zalgas. You have a 5-year age difference. I think this fight is going to go the distance. Cape 16-6. And actually, give me 1 second.
Yeah. So while he goes and takes care of whatever he's got to take care of, just looking at this real quick, Cape's 5'5", Zalgas is 5'4". They're both fighting out of 125. Cape's got the reach. He's got about 1.5 inches of reach on him. Then, he's a southpaw. Zalgas is a switch guy. Like you said, Cape is 16-6. Zalgas is 14-5. Right now, Cape is a heavy favorite at -280.
Who's the favorite?
Cape.
Yeah, I would kind of see that too. He's 5 years younger. Southpaw versus switch. Switch has actually had a little bit more success. So I guess if you want to take a shot, Cape, 2-inch reach advantage, his takedown defense 80%. That's pretty good. 3 fights in the UFC though. He's lost 2 of his 3 fights, so that's not the best. Where Zalgas has he has 3 fights in the US or in the UFC. He's lost 2 of his 3 as well. So if you kind of look at that, Zalgas has lost 2 decisions unanimously. He did get his last fight was a victory by submission. Kepe won by flying knee. He lost a split decision and then lost a unanimous decision. Striking, you're going to see Zalgas. He's typically been a little bit more active with throwing punches. He's a little bit more accurate. They absorb about the same amount, and he has better defense. So if you want to take a shot at in an upset, I probably would say Cape wins this fight. And I think it goes the distance. I think that's the safest pick in this fight. But if you want to try an upset victory, go with Zalgas.
Interesting. That it would probably be one of the biggest upsets if it happens on this card, to be honest. So if you land that upset, that's a pretty big one, because if I'm not mistaken, that is the biggest right now for underdog at plus 230.
Oh, really?
Oh, no, but I take that back. Chris Curtis is actually plus 270. We'll get into that match in a little bit. So it's the second biggest underdog.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a 5-year difference, you're starting to talk into like the low 60%, where the younger fighter beats, the older fighter. When you start, what is it? Is it switch versus southpaw?
Yep.
So switch versus southpaw, that actually shakes out to be around 57% of the time that switch beats southpaw.
Okay.
So that's where I think I don't know. I just it's not like this is a huge age difference where Zelkis is 40 years old, right? He's 33, he's 14-5. He has 7 knockouts, 1 submission. Cape has 10 knockouts, 5 submission. Cape's he's never been knocked out. Zalkis has been knocked out once, and then Cape's been submitted twice. So I don't know. I just kind of see this fight going the decision. I could be completely wrong on this. It could be a finish, but I just Cape's he has a takedown defense of 80%. We'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. It could be Cape with an easy win. But if you're willing to, if I were to be betting on this fight, I don't know. I think I might just say it goes the distance. Or if you want to take a flyer on an upset, this is one I might look at.
Cool. All right. So our next match is Maki Pitolo versus Dusko Todorovic.
Yeah. So this one, I just got to say, the best fighter nickname on the card, Coconut Bombs for Maki. Gotta love that. Coconut Bombs coming in, and he's fighting Dusko Todorovic, I think. I don't know. So he's Dusko's 27, fighting a 30-year-old. Dusko's 10-2, 6 knockouts, 3 submissions, 1 decision. He's been knocked out once, and he has 1 decision loss. Coconut Bombs, Maki, 13-8, 7 knockouts, 3 submissions, 3 decision victories. He's been knocked out twice. He's been submitted. He has had a lot more. He's 3 years younger, but he's had a lot more fights in the octagon. So that experience. This one's interesting too, because Maki's going to come in with a 1-inch advantage, 1-inch reach, not a huge advantage, but he does have a little bit of the experience side of things. Dusko came in. He was fighting on Dana White's Contender Series. He got a decision victory. He had his UFC debut. He won 2nd round TKO punches. And then he's lost his last 2 fights. He lost by TKO, and then he lost the decision. Where Maki has been in the UFC for a little bit of time. He's had how many fights? So he's had 5 UFC fights, and he's 1-4. So not a very good record. Dusko, 3 UFC fights, 1-3. Maki has a 3-fight losing streak right now, and I think this is kind of like the end of the road here. Like, oof. This is a make it or break it type fight, I think, for him. And if he doesn't pull it off, I don't know if he's going to get that, call or just get cut. So just kind of looking at it, Dusko's been a little bit more active in striking. He has a striking accuracy, 54% to 44% for Maki, Coconut Bombs, if we want to just say that. But this is where the interesting part is Dusko has absorbed a lot more strikes per minute than Maki, and it kind of reflects in the defense. Dusko 48 to 56% defense. That being said, usually when all things being equal, I tend to try to go defense. 2 fighters, losing streaks. I don't know. Like, there's a part of me that I'm not quite sure how this fight is really going to shake out, but I'm going to just root for Maki, the Coconut Bombs, just for his nickname alone. He absorbs less. He has a little bit more takedown attempts than Dusko as well. So if he can get the guy taken down, he might just win a decision victory. So if you want to take a look or take a shot on something, I don't know. What is he what's the odds on him right now?
So he's at plus 145. So he is the underdog going into this match.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel great on it, to say the least. I wouldn't say bet heavy on this. But I could see it happening. I mean, but there's nothing in the past to say that's going to happen. Right.
Sure.
So his 2 of his last 3 losses have been submission. So one thing to think about is, okay, is Dusko going to submit him? He has 3 submissions of his 10 victories have been by submission. The last 3 victories they've had is by TKO. So I don't think that's probably going to happen. I don't know. Like, I kind of just see this fight going to a decision. And if Mackey's more active and he gets a takedown, maybe he stops the skid. So that's kind of where I would go with Coconut Bombs. Dusko he'll probably win this fight, but I'm rooting for Coconut Bombs.
Sure. All right, so we get into our next fight, which is a huge difference on favorites. Alex Morono versus Mickey Gall.
And also just this is now the start of the main card.
Cool. Perfect.
So we have Alex Moreno, Mickey Gall. We have Alex Moreno coming in at 20-7, 6 knockouts, 6 submissions, seven decisions, and then a no contest, 7 losses. He's never been submitted. He's been knocked out twice, and he's lost 5 decisions. Mickey Gall, not as experienced. He's 7-3 with 6 submissions. He's been 6 submission victories, 1 decision, 1 knockout, and two decision losses. Looking at this fight, Mickey Gall is a switch fighter. So like we said before, a little advantage over orthodox, which is a little interesting. He's a taller fighter coming in at 6'2" versus 5'11", and he has a 2-inch reach advantage. He's not going to be as active as Alex Moreno. His striking has been slightly better, but 46% to 42%. His defense is significantly less, 44 to 56% for Alex Moreno. I believe, I kind of see him trying to take him down and getting that submission, because 6 submissions, 86% of his victories have been by submission. Alex Moreno doesn't have that good a takedown defense, but on the other side, Mickey Gall has a 28% takedown accuracy. So, is he really going to be taking him down? Is he going to be able to? We'll have to see. And then when we kind of look between the two fighters, I kind of see Alex Moreno pulling this one out. I pick Alex Moreno, and if you could do a double chance, I would probably say knockout or decision.
Yeah, and the books are with you there. He is a -240 favorite, so he's got the books on his side for sure. So anybody that was thinking Mickey Gall, that's a huge underdog at +200.
Yeah.
So our next fight coming up after that, we got Brendan Allen versus Chris Curtis. Now this one here has the biggest favorite of the night. So Brendan Allen is -340.
Yep.
Curtis is the +270 underdog.
Yeah. So when I was originally looking at this too, it's funny. I'm all in on Brendan Allen. That is his nickname. He's 17-4, 5 knockouts, 9 submissions. He has a variety of different ways to beat you. He has 4 losses, 1 knockout, 1 submission, 2 decisions. He's fighting out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so nearby you. He's fighting a guy that's pretty scary. He's 9-1 Roman. I think it's like Dolejais, his nickname, the Caucasian. So 9-1. He has 4 knockouts, three submissions. I don't think this fight goes the distance, honestly. But that being said, oops, I just clicked off my sheet. Go ahead.
So let's back up a little bit. On you had just mentioned that he was fighting some dude that's 9-1. Right now he's listed as fighting Chris Curtis, who's 27-8.
Say that one more time.
Chris Curtis. Brendan Allen is facing Chris Curtis. So I don't know if there is a last minute.
Oh, that is a change. Okay, so yeah, then
yeah, so he's actually going up against Chris Curtis. Just doing a quick Google just to see what happened. I don't see anything about a last minute change or anything. I'm not really sure where I would look at that, but Chris Curtis is listed at 5'10", 185. He's got a half-inch reach over Allen. He's also orthodox. It looks like he doesn't have too much experience in the UFC potentially. There's not much information on his takedown. Everything is listed on my end, at least at 000, and that's just on ESPN. So there's not a There's not too much on here just right off the bat that I had for him, but he is 27-8. Let's see if I can.
So here you go. Chris Curtis coming in. He is a pretty active striker. He more than Brendan Allen. He's coming in with pretty good accuracy as well in his last UFC fights. He has absorbed a lot more too, so his defense it comes in as better, but he does absorb more blows, and then he hasn't taken anybody down within the UFC at least. He was in Dana White's, so it's interesting because he's actually, now I remember, Curtis was on Dana White's Contender Series. He had a knockout kick, and then he had his UFC debut, knockout punch, and he recently fought, and he was getting his ass kicked in this fight, and he came back and won. So
Yes.
it's interesting. He has heart. I think he is taking this fight on short notice as well. He was definitely had to dig deep in his last fight, but he came back and won. So
Nice.
that'll be an interesting one. For the sake of argument though, short notice fights generally don't work out for fighters, but he is making his debut. He's on that kind of that Cinderella run. So it would be a good story if you were able to pull off a victory.
Nice. Cool. So the next fight is actually one of the fights I'm looking forward to watching. Local kid. We're going Clay Guida versus Leonardo Santos.
Good old
I say
Carpenter.
local. Yeah, I say local kid, but dude's almost 40.
Yeah, so Clay Guida is 39, Leonardo Santos 41, both orthodox. Guida is going to have a 2-inch reach advantage. He's going to be trying everything he can to take him down. I don't know if he's going to be able to. Santos is almost 90% takedown defense, which is nuts.
Wow.
So this fight's going to probably be a lot of clinch work. I don't know. I see this fight going I would hammer this fight going the distance. That's what I would say.
The just looking at the stats though, man, like just their the reach difference is insane. Santos has a 5-inch reach difference on him, and he's 3 inches taller.
Does he really though? I for maybe what I was pulling in then was incorrect, because I had him having a 68-inch reach.
So ESPN at least has Guida at a 70-inch reach and has Santos at a 75-inch reach. And they got him listed at
Jesus
6
Christ.
foot. That's a huge difference.
Yeah,
Massive
it is.
difference.
Yeah, so let me pull this up real quick, because that's very interesting. So my number's wrong, and that kind of changes everything. And what I mean by that is when you have a 5-inch reach, then I'm still going decision, but I'm gonna go with Santos. That's what I'm just gonna say. Generally, you almost have a 70% chance of winning the longer reach guy when it's 5 inches.
Yeah, that's crazy. Imagine somebody just being able to 5 inches more than you.
Yeah, but that being said, Clay Guida is not a guy to stand there and try to fight. He's going to be bringing the fight to him, so it's going to be very close. As long as he can get in and try to take him down, which I kind of see this being up against the cage a lot, and just clinch work.
For sure. All right, so we're moving into the last 3 fights of the card. We got Jimmy Crute versus Jamal Hill.
Jimmy Crute versus Jamal Hill. Southpaw versus orthodox. Jamal Hill is a southpaw. Crute orthodox. 5-year difference. Crute being the younger fighter, 30 to 25. He's 12-2, 5 knockouts, 4 decisions, versus Hill, who is 8-1 with 4 knockouts, 4 decisions. With his one loss being a knockout, Crute has been knocked out and submitted. When I was looking at this fight originally, I don't know why. I just kind of get the thought that this fight isn't going the distance. When you look at if you look at Crute's fights, the last 5 of them haven't gone out of the first round. If you look at Hill's last 5 fights, only one of them have gone 3 rounds. They both are coming off a TKO loss in the first round. So you may see him be a little bit more hesitant. That's the only concerning thing with saying that this fight doesn't go the distance. But, you know, Jimmy Crute is going to try to take Jamal Hill down. He's got 80% takedown accuracy. I don't think Jamal Hill's takedown defense, unless he really got it better, 57% is going to stop that. So even though Jamal Hill does have that 5-inch reach advantage, I'm going to go with the younger fighter with the takedowns, just because if he can get him down and stay on top of him, I mean, that's how it works, right? These guys, they get on top and then they don't let it up. They end up winning the fight. And then Jimmy Crute has shown that he has the ability to win by knockout or by submission. So for that reasons alone, I'm going with Jimmy Crute.
Let's do it. All right. Now we got Brad Riddell versus Rafael Fiziev.
Yeah, this one should be fun. Both fighters 10-1. Brad Riddell, 5 knockouts, 5 decisions. Rafael, 6 knockouts, 1 submission, 3 decisions. I honestly, I don't have a pick on this fight. A lot of things being equal, switch versus orthodox. So if all being equal, I'm probably going the switch fighter. Reach is the same. Striking is very similar. Accuracy is very similar. Rafael absorbs more blows, though, and he has a slightly worse defense. Not terrible, but I believe he's never been taken down either. So I think, I don't know. He hasn't been taken down. This could go the distance. It could be a knockout or a decision. I'm interested to seeing how it goes. If you look at their last few fights too, I think this fight goes the distance. And the reason why I say this is if we look at Brad Riddell, his last 4 fights have all gone by decision. If you look at Rafael's last fights, 3 of the last 4 fights have gone to decision. So banking on that, I don't know. I would just probably pick it goes to a decision.
Who do you have winning this one?
All things being equal, I'll go with Rafael.
Cool. Yeah, they have this one as basically as a toss up. It's he's a minus 125 favorite right now, which isn't too crazy. With Riddell being plus 105. So
I could easily see Riddell winning the fight. Don't get me wrong.
yeah,
I mean,
and that's how the books kind of have it. They have it as pretty even. All right, now we're getting into our main event, and that is
before you move
fight
on, I think it's going to come down to if Riddell is able to take Rafael down, then if you see it in the first round, if he's able to take him down, then I would go with Brad Riddell. But if they're still standing at the end of the first, I'm going with Rafael.
Got it. All right, so her main event, we got Rob Font versus José Aldo.
Yeah, man, the myth, the man, the legend, Jose Jr. Aldo, age 35, fighting Rob Font, 34. This is the main event. Jose Aldo coming in as an underdog. You know, I have a hard time betting against Jose Aldo. He's just so damn good. You know, he has 37 fights, professional fights. He's 35 years old. To me, that's just absolutely nuts. Rob Font is no joke either. This is gonna be a good one. Jose Aldo, you know, his last 2 fights went to decision. Rob Font, his last fight went to decision, and then the one previously, he was a TKO victory. 19-4, 8 knockouts, 4 submissions. Jose Aldo, it's either going to be a decision or knockout. That's what's going to happen for victories. He has 17 of his 30 victories, 17 knockouts or TKOs. He only has 1 submission and 12 decisions. I would not be surprised again if this fight ends up going the distance. Aldo needs this to get back to another title shot, be strategic in his striking, trying to find finding ways to score points and win. His takedown defense is absurd at 91%. So I would imagine he's going to be staying up, right? It's going to be an exciting fight. If gun to my head, I'm picking Jose Aldo, but You just don't know. There's not much of a reach advantage. There's not much of a height advantage for either fighter. So I'm going to go with experience, and Jose Aldo has been there. I mean, Jesus, he has I think he has 12 title fights
Wow.
In his career. So just the experience alone, he's been there. Rob Font's getting up there in age as well. So we'll see what happens, but I'm picking Jose Aldo.
Cool. So that
So
actually
guys,
covers the entire card.
yeah,
Now,
so that
before we go and like start breaking anything else down or start heading this one out, I got one more question for you. Your fight to watch that is not the main event.
my fight to watch that isn't the main event. When I was kind of looking at these fights, you know, I'm really interested to see the so I don't know about fight to watch, but if I was gonna say like the most confident one I'm in, I kind of like the Claudio Puelles fight. There's just a lot of things in his favor. He's got a 4-inch reach. He's a southpaw versus orthodox. He's 10 years younger. So that's one that I would definitely go for. But as far as fireworks go, and probably it's on the undercard. It's Alonzo Manifield versus William Knight. I love 205. Both guys only 2 losses. This is going to be the fight that kind of springboards them. And so that's the other fight that I would probably say I'm most interested in.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Well, hey, and also too, I'm having my wife. That sounds crazy, but I'm having her pick fights. When we go to the horse track, she's a horse whisperer. I don't know what she is or what she does, but she ends up knowing who's going to win. Like I can look at it for like 30 minutes and dissect all the numbers, and then she looks and picks the right horse. I'm going to have her pick some ponies tonight during this fight card and
Nice.
see how it shakes out.
Sounds good. We'll have her go up against you and
Oh, she's gonna
see how much.
smoke me, dude.
Yeah.
Just I don't know what it is. She gets that woman intuition and she just crushes it.
Let's do it. I'm here for it.
All right, man. Have a good day. Enjoy the fights, and we'll talk soon.
See you guys.